Prashant. I'm working as a MuleSoft architect. So welcome back to the part 2 of MuleSoft Division series. It is also called as MuleSoft Vibes now. And in our part first, we have seen all the setups and configurations required to enable this MuleSoft Division for your local VS Code editor. And in this part 2, we are going to see all the options and in what all conditions and in what all use cases we can use all those options. So once you open this MuleSoft Dev agent from the left hand side, right, you will see a window something like this. And in the get started section, we have some suggested prompts. So these are few pre-built prompts which you can just click it and just see how it works, right? Then we have one section where it says one MuleSoft MCP server active. So currently by default, once you start using Dev agent, right, it has one active MuleSoft MCP server, which will take all your request to the LLM models, execute the commands, execute the tools, and give us the response. So we have one MCP server by default activated for you. But if you want to add your own MCP server, then also you can add it. You can go to the manage MCP server section like this, and then you can either install it from marketplace or either you can add it manually from the remote server. We have one section to see all the recent history, recent task, recent prompts in this particular section. So the first option we are going to see is a plan and act mode. So in plan mode, agent force will gather information to architect a plan. So if you request him to to list down all the APIs which are running in my dev environment, or maybe in all the environments, right? So in that case, he will architect a plan, whatever is needed for that particular request to execute. Maybe something like he will first request the any one platform, like which parent organization I'm working with, then what all business groups is I will allocate it to that particular parent organization. Then in that particular business group, right, whatever I requested, what all environments are available, and in all that environment, then he will list down all the APIs, right? So all these steps he will first execute. He will draft that plan and he will send it to you. We can see that plan here, and once you are okay with that plan, then you can toggle it to the act mode, and then those plan will then be executed. While in the act mode, he will draft the plan and then he will execute the plan by himself. So he don't need your approval for that. He will execute whatever the plan he has drafted by himself. Then we have few options on the on the top side. These all are the options. So the first one is enable auto approve. So if you want him to auto approve few commands by himself, right? Maybe listing a file, listing a directory, reading a file, something like this, right? Or changing a directory, some few safe commands, right? Which is a kind of non-destructive and which is not modifying or deleting something on your system. Those are called as safe commands. If you want him to auto approve that by himself, this is the option where we can click it. Then we have a toggle all. It just once you click it, all the options will be activated. Once you unclick it, all will be deactivated. Then we have read project files. If you want him to read a project specific file for your particular project, maybe a POM file or maybe XML file, configuration file, or maybe an MUnit file, Mule artifact, JSON file, Exchange file, anything, right, under your specific project, then you can enable it. If you want him to read all the files on your system or your computer, in that case, enable this. Similarly for the edit file as well, if you want him to edit a specific project related files option, this is where we can enable it. If you want him to edit all the files on your system, this is where we can enable it. Then we have execute safe commands. So there are few safe commands like I've already explained, right? So which are non-destructive and which are something like listing a file, listing a directory, which are not potentially harmful for your system, right, or your project. Those are treated as safe commands. And if you want him to execute the safe command by himself, this is where we can enable it. If you want him to execute all the commands which are available, right, maybe these are basically non-safe, or I would say something which is potentially harmful, maybe deleting a file, modifying a file, or removing something from your system, something like this, right? So this is where if you want him to enable auto approve that, then we can enable this as well. It's always recommended to disable it. If you want him to use the browser, right, if you want him to go ahead and see what all what all websites we have, what all options we have, right, on the browser, then you can enable it. But if you have some, every projects have their own protocol compliance, then it's always, recommended to disable it. Okay, unless we have some specific reason. If you want him to use your own MuleSoft MCP server, this is where you can, enable it, and he will start using our own MCP server. We have few options on the bottom. Add context. So this is basically context related activities. If you want him to just update something in the Exchange file, then update the group ID here. Okay, something like this. If you want him to do a specific operation on specific file, right? So these are the context related activities. And similar to the file, if you want him to execute a particular folder or execute few git commands or execute few commands on the terminal, right, or find a solution for a specific problem, these all are the context. We can select that, and basically you can request him for some solution here. Okay, then we have a session where we can enable our own MCP server like this. Go to settings, and here either download it from marketplace, add a remote server, or whatever is installed here, we can see it here. And we can also see what all tools are available in this particular MCP server, right? So these all are the tools, and what all parameters it is accepting, and everything is basically mentioned here. Then lastly, we have an option to manage agentful rules and workspace. So rules are something which are specific to your project, or which might be specific to your whole account, right? For example, if your account only allows the MuleSoft Maven plugin version to be 3.8.8, right? Though we have the latest version, but if you still want to just use 3.8.8, in that case you can create a rule either at workspace level or global level, something like maybe Mule Maven, right? And just click the plus button, and here you can just say that please keep Mule Maven plugin version to be always 3.8.8. Okay, don't change it. Okay, it's a plain simple natural language, you can add it. And whenever he is executing a few requests on your behalf, right, if he want to create a new project based on your business requirement, so he will always keep this Mule Maven plugin to be 3.8.8. Okay, and this we can apply to the global level, and this we can also apply to the workspace level. Then lastly, we have the workflows. So if we have some set of repeated tasks, right, that might be anything. For example, developer often clones the same project repository multiple times for a new feature, right? If you want something like a repeated task, which means like something like just clone this repository, then create a feature branch, import that to the ECB, then change the Mule Maven plugin to the 3.8.8, then commit this code to the feature branch, create a pull request, send the approval to the lead. Once approved, then deploy this to the dev and INT, right? And inform this to someone, maybe over an email or something like this, right? So these are a few set of rules which are kind of repetitive, or maybe based on the project, right? It can be anything, repetitive task, right? For example, if you want to just see how many memory or CPU is available in your deployment model, right? Maybe a cloud 2.0 or maybe a runtime fabric. If you want to see it every 2 hours or every 5 hours, every day or every 2 days, right? So these are a few of the set of rules which we can create here, and then we can execute it, right? So it is also at the workspace level, and it is also at the global level as well. Okay, so similarly we can create the files as well, and while executing, right? For example, I'll just keep it simple, maybe some git clone. Okay, uh, clone the repository, maybe HTTPS, something like this, right? I'll just add some dummy for now, and I'll save it, and this is where we can execute it. So for executing, just use a / and the workflow command name. Okay, and just send it. So all the prompt which is written in this particular workspace will then be executed for you. All right, So we are going to see the usage of all these options in the upcoming session, right? Where we are going to see how we can design, how we can implement the EBA, how we can develop an integrations. And I'll take one use case and incrementally we'll try to explain all the options, right, on that particular use case. So thank you all for joining and have a good day.